What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Clash Royale video. Now today I'm going to be doing something really interesting, something I haven't ever done before, and today you guys are going to be picking my deck in Clash Royale. Now you're probably confused on how you're going to be picking my deck in Clash Royale, and I'm actually going to go on over to Twitter right now and tweet something out asking you guys for 8 random card names. I said give me a random card name in Clash Royale, go. And as soon as I tweet this, I'm going to get a bunch of replies about a bunch of cards, and the first 8 cards that I see in my notifications, I'm going to go ahead and create a deck with those cards. So we have the tweet ready. There it goes. It is now sent. Let's scroll up in our notifications, sort it by mentions, and see the first 8 cards that come through. I will be making a deck with the first 8 cards that I see, so it doesn't matter what they are. I'll most likely be getting a lot of bad cards with this. Oh god, this is not going to be good. I already see Rocket, Lava Hound, and Sparky. This is not good at all. And Royal Giant, no. Skeletons, Graveyard, another Royal Giant, Archers, Skeletons, Sparky, Royal Giant, Prince, Graveyard, Goblin, Skeletons, Ice Golem, Miner. I'm not exactly sure if I want to go with the first 8 or just a random 8. I already said first 8, so I feel like I have to go with the first 8 cards. But this deck is obviously not going to work out. This is going to be a Rocket, Lava Hound, Sparky, Royal Giant. Luckily, I have some 1-elixir Skeletons in there, Graveyard, and Archers. I think that's 8. That might be 8. I'm not exactly too sure. But that is going to be a terrible deck, so maybe I'll come back to my notifications after the first battle and see what else we can create. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and create that deck. The first card I believe was the Lava Hound. Next up was Sparky, and we also had the Royal Giants in here, which I'm not a fan of. So let's go ahead and throw in the Royal Giant. I believe we also had, what else did we have? We had the Graveyard. I remember that. We had the Graveyard. So where is that card? There it is. That's not the Graveyard. That is the Graveyard. No, that's not the Graveyard. Let's go ahead and put the Graveyard in our deck right now. We also had 1-elixir Skeletons. I remember that. We have the Skeletons, and I think there were also some Archers. But that is only 6 cards so far. So let's go back to Twitter and see what else there was. Okay, so I guess that's only 6 so far. Let's keep on scrolling up. Oh god, I have so many notifications. My iPad just froze. Okay, we got to go back to the bottom now, all the way through all these notifications. Here we are. Okay, so we're at the bottom. We got the Rocket, we got the Lava Hound, we got Sparky, we got the Royal Giant, Skeletons, Graveyard, Archers. What else is there? There is a Prince, and there are Goblins. So those are the next 2 cards that I saw that weren't repeats. So this is going to be a deck with the first 8 cards I saw in my notifications. It's the first 8 original cards that were tweeted at me. With these cards right here, let's go ahead and throw the Goblin in there and throw the Prince in here, wherever that is, to finish off the deck. This is going to be a very, very bad deck. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but hopefully we can at least get 1 win with it. I'll most likely be going back to Twitter after I finish this next battle and see what other deck I can create. Anyway, let's go back out into a matchmaking battle and see who we come up against. He's going to be so surprised that we're using a crazy deck. In our starting hand right now is the Prince, some Archers, the Royal Giant, and the Lava Hound. So let's start things off by dropping down our Lava Hound in the back. As he drops down an Ice Golem Hog Rider push, this is not good for us. Archers are trying to take out that Ice Golem as well as my Skeletons down as soon as it blows up to finish off the Hog Rider. But the Hog Rider, the Fireball, and the Ice Golem have already dropped down my tower to 1200 hit points. So let's send in a level 5 Prince right under that Lava Hound. As the tower locks onto it, maybe the Prince can get to the tower. Let's see what he does to counter. The Prince is actually not going to get to the tower because he drops down some level 11 Elite Barbarians. But as the Prince tries to finish off those barbs, the rest of them will run towards my tower right now. I'll have to distract this barb with my Goblin, which luckily does the trick. But he did successfully defend against my Lava Hound over on the left. So now let's drop down our Royal Giant to tank for the tower as these Archers come in. Let's also go ahead and get either some Archers in behind this Giant or maybe a Graveyard as soon as it crosses the bridge. I'm feeling a Graveyard. Let's drop down a Graveyard as the Royal Giant crosses the bridge and locks onto the tower. He's going to do a little bit of damage over there, as well as these Skeletons also chipping away at that tower. However, he did drop down a Tornado spell, which luckily countered most of my Skeletons. And unfortunately, one of my Skeletons actually activated that King Tower. So now some Skeletons and some Archers go down and finish off this Hog Rider over on the right, but he will Fireball the tower and my Archers, dropping my tower down to 373 hit points. This is by far the weirdest deck I have ever used in Clash Royale, so let's go ahead and get down maybe our Sparky behind our tower for now, and most likely our Royal Giant in front of that Sparky, but he just dropped down some Elite Barbarians over on the right, which is not good for us. There was no point in even trying to counter those troops as they took out my tower immediately, and it only had 300 hit points, so now our Goblin should be able to finish them off. And let's go ahead and drop down maybe a Prince behind the Sparky as well. The Royal Giant is now locked on. He has a Tornado in here. Let's get in some Archers to try to finish off this Mega Minion. However, Sparky did go ahead and shoot some of those Archers as well as finish off the tower. So I would say that we're even right now, but he has done so much damage to our King Tower right now, and he already has some more Elite Barbarians coming in here. Hopefully Sparky can get off a shot soon, but he does go ahead and zap him, and the Hog Rider finishes off my King Tower. So good game to this guy. He's going to be a dick and say thanks, but was I supposed to win with this deck, or was I seriously supposed to win using this crazy deck? At least we got 1 crown towards our crown chest and the clan chest. Anyway, there was our first loss of the video. Probably not going to be our dead last, but this deck actually worked out surprisingly well. Obviously there wasn't too much defense in it, but with a Royal Giant, a Prince, a Graveyard, and Sparky, as well as the Lava Hound, we managed to take out at least one of his towers and might have been able to win if he didn't have those elite barbarians. Either way, let's head on back over to Twitter and try to find a new deck in our mentions. So this time I'm going to start at the top of my notifications now that they've had some time to reply to my tweet. Just because I'm curious, let's see how many replies this tweet already has. There's my thank you tweet for 70,000 subscribers a few days ago. In 8 minutes, this tweet already has 60 replies. A lot of people have been replying with a bunch of different cards to use, so let's go into our notification tab and take a look at the most recent 8 cards this time instead of the first 8 cards. So we have the Miner, the Musketeer, the Dark Prince to the Expo, the Executioner, which I can't use yet because it's not out, the Royal Giant yet again, another Witch, Dark Prince, Royal Giant, those are repeats, and Ice Wizard, Expo, and the Log. That should do it for now. Let's go ahead and see how many of these take up 8. So we have the Log, we have the Expo, we have the Ice Wizard, we have the Royal Giant, the Dark Prince, and the Witch. That should be 6 right there, as well as the Musketeer and the Miner to make 8. I didn't mean to click on that. As well as the Musketeer and the Miner to make 8. Okay, so I'm going to try my hardest to remember these cards. Most likely won't work, and I'll have to come back to Twitter. Okay, so I know we had the Miner in here, as well as the Musketeer. Haven't used that card in a while, actually. We also have the Royal Giant, so I'm going to go ahead and keep him in there. And I believe we also had the Expo in here. Where is the Expo? There is the Expo. And we also had a Dark Prince to replace the Prince. So let's get the Dark Prince in the deck. And what else did we have? I'm going to have to go back to Twitter and see what else there was real quick. Let's go ahead and see. There was a Witch. Okay, so I need to put a Witch in the deck. And also an Ice Wizard as well as the Log. So there goes the Log. Here comes the Ice Wizard, and for the last card, I believe it was a Witch, so let's go ahead and find her, and now our deck should be complete. So we have a Royal Giant Expo deck, as well as a Miner, a Witch, a Royal Giant, I already said the Royal Giant, sorry about that, a Musketeer, an Ice Wizard, and the Dark Prince. So this is going to be very interesting. 4.1 average cost. Let's go ahead and see how it does in a live battle. Here we are once again with a really wacky deck going against another level 11. Let's start things off by dropping down. I wasn't going to drop down my Miner behind one of his towers, but instead, I think I'm going to drop down an Ice Wizard right here and a Witch to distract this mini P.E.K.K.A. So the mini P.E.K.K.A. finishes off my Ice Wizard and then gets distracted by one of those skeletons. But luckily we finished him off and he didn't touch my tower. So down goes a Miner behind the right lane tower, as well as my Witch crosses the bridge. She will go ahead and finish off these level 11 goblins and then go ahead and lock onto the tower once again. So the Miner did some damage, the Witch did some damage as well. We actually dropped that tower down to 1600 hit points in the first push of the battle. But now he has a level 8 giant, so I'm actually going to go ahead and drop down a defensive Expo right here. Not exactly sure how great of an idea that was, but hopefully the Expo can help me out here. As the giant comes into the radius, it will go ahead and lock onto that. And of course he has some 3 Musketeers. I'm going to have to go ahead and drop down a Dark Prince to handle the 2 on the left, as well as an Ice Wizard over here on the right to finish off the last Musketeer. The tower finishes off the giant and now locks onto the Musketeer. Neither of those cards actually made it anywhere near my tower. Honestly, that was very surprising. That was a really successful defense right there. Let's go ahead and drop down a Log on the Princess to finish her off, as well as a Musketeer and a Witch. Can I get the Witch down in time? Hopefully she'll spawn some skeletons and distract some of these troops. However, the Goblin did make it to my tower, but luckily the mini P.E.K.K.A. didn't. Let's go ahead and send in a Miner behind that tower. Unfortunately, the tower will go ahead and pick off my Musketeer first, but she does get off one shot, and now the Witch is locking on with her skeletons as well. The Miner, the Witch, and those skeletons go ahead and might be able to finish off that tower. They actually drop it down to 60 hit points. So down goes the Dark Prince on the right, as well as an Ice Wizard on the left to finish off that Musketeer. He will go ahead and zap my Dark Prince. Will he even make it to the Musketeers? He does, but both of them right there locked onto each of my towers. Nonetheless, we do have one of his towers, so let's go ahead and drop down that Log right there. Maybe it might take out the Princess as well. Probably should have waited a little bit longer, but now let's go ahead and drop down a Royal Giant. So Royal Giant locks onto the left lane tower, as well as throwing in that Musketeer down that lane too. Musketeer locks on, the Royal Giant is locked on, but now he has a huge push coming down my left lane, and a decent sized push coming down my right lane as well. So let's go. Oh god, we are so screwed right now. He has a mini P.E.K.K.A., some Fire Spirits, Musketeers on the left and the right, as well as the Giant. There is no way we are defending this push. I thought we were doing well for a minute, but I think we just got screwed. He just took out one of our towers, and now he got the other one really low. So let's drop down a Witch to finish off this Musketeer on the left. As he drops down more 3 Musketeers, there's a Giant on my King tower. The 3 Musketeers just took out everything, and now they're finishing off my tower for the victory. That took a really fast change of events. I thought we were going to be able to win that battle, then all of a sudden he dropped down the 3 Musketeers, split them down both lanes, took out each of my towers, and almost got that 3 crown. That did not work out as well as I thought it was going to. Unfortunately, we lost 2 battles in a row right there. But honestly, it was kind of fun using some pretty crazy decks and interacting with you guys on Twitter. So if you like this video idea and you want to see more of it, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button down below, and I'll definitely bring some back in the future. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and you might be in the next Twitter chooses my deck video. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.